I said before, we have not yet had a race car driver on the show, and you might be thinking to yourself, what does this have to do with autism? Well, stick around because you're going to find out. But first of all, we want to welcome Jason Cherry to Autism Live. Jason, are you there?
Yes, I am.
So you are actually at the conference right now, and I imagine you're having a great time.
Yes, I am. Of
Well,
course.
we're thrilled to have you here. But let's start out by talking about race car driving. So tell our audience at home what kind of cars you drive, Jason.
I drive a Mazda MX-5 in the Pirelli World Challenge Touring Car A division.
And so, that's formula racing?
No, this is closed car sports car racing, which will eventually lead into bigger series such as Bentleys, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and whatnot.
Wow, very exciting. But you're very young, but you're very hot and up and coming. Tell us about some of the races that you've been participating in and what you've got coming up.
Well, I started off racing in formula cars, and I made the transition in the Pirelli World Challenge this year. I was making my pro debut earlier this year, and I have so far raced in places such as Canada, Florida, and other tracks all in North America. And my next race coming up is going to be in Ohio, August 1st to 3rd. And that'll be a real big race weekend. We're going to be working with the local chapters to host some kids and families at the track that weekend.
Okay, well, we're going to be rooting for you on August 1st. But let's talk a little bit about why autism is a subject that you want to be drawing more attention to.
Well, I have a 22-year-old brother on the autism spectrum. He was adopted from Russia when he was 3, so that was before I was born because I'm 18, so there's a 5-year difference between us. And I recognized very quickly that I had a very special platform to raise awareness, but not only that, but to reach out to the siblings of individuals on the autism spectrum that I can relate to. And I really want to use my racing platform to help raise funding for the different branches of Autism Society, but like I said, more specifically sibling programs such as scholarship programs and sibling outreach programs.
Well, I think this is such a timely subject, Jason, because we get questions all the time, both from parents saying, I'm concerned about the siblings and how they're handling this and what they're going to do. But we also, from time to time, get messages from siblings. So tell us about what it was like for you and what you've learned that you want to share with other siblings.
Well, to not get into the real deep details, as there was a lot of different events, it was a difficult childhood that shaped me and matured me at a very young age. And it was interesting because I was actually speaking with a factory Volkswagen team the other day, and he happened to have a brother on the autism spectrum, and my father was asking him if he wanted to see any videos of me racing and whatnot, and he simply looked back at us and said, I understand you have a brother on the autism spectrum. I know what it was like to be raised in those environments. I know what it is like to be under high stress environments and to have to go through and be raised in that type of environment. And he simply said to me that he doesn't need to see anything, that he knows that I'm capable of doing anything if I was capable of being raised with a brother on the autism spectrum and coming out so successful. So it was, like I said, a very difficult environment. He is now matured and he's become a really great young man. He's 22 years old, has a job, lives in a group home, and is about ready to get engaged, actually.
Wow.
So some very exciting things going on for him.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I really love the kinship that it seems that siblings have when they meet each other. There is, just as you were describing, a moment, I've seen this happen before, where they say, oh, you get it. You get what it was like. As a parent on the outside, what I tend to notice is that I'm sure it's a difficult childhood, but I have to say that you siblings make the most incredible adults.
Yes, it most definitely shapes you like no other. And I can directly attribute a lot of characteristics and personality traits that I have that are directly as a result of my brother, all being good. And then you obviously have those other ones that have shaped me in interesting ways that we're all just attempting to overcome, as it was, yet again, a very difficult and stressful environment that brings out different things about yourself that you didn't know. but all moving towards a greater purpose and a greater meaning.
Jason, if there was one thing you could say to parents that you wish that they would understand so that they could get through this difficult time and help the siblings, what do you think you would say?
To the parents,
Yes. So they can make it easier for the siblings, that they can lighten the load just even a little bit. What could they do?
well, one thing that I'm doing with my racing platform is I'm also going to be working on expanding the respite services and providing that to more families. And I can personally testify as to how important it is to have that. I mean, to be quite blunt, like the break
Yeah.
from the autism because of this stressful environment that's created is such a big deal when you're able to get that little bit of a breather, especially being a sibling that's constantly around it. And that was the most important thing for me. So I would just suggest to parents to be reaching out to their local chapters and organizations and whatever services they can find, because that really does make a big difference for those siblings.